Okay, so this video here is the second video in fundamental Sandai techniques. Okay, if you're watching this one, there's one before this, and if you're watching this in time, there's none after it. But if it's been a while and you see that this was made a couple of months ago, there's probably several other of these videos. So the one that I initially started with was just a variety of different stuff, and moving forward, they'll be over something more specific. These potentially, if you're doing Sandai now and you're wanting to learn some more content, these may give you some more techniques and things to think about. If you don't, know anything about Sandai, you want to maybe experience it. Some of these techniques would be great to practice with you with a partner or school setting, whatever it may be. If you have any questions about this stuff, you're more than welcome to send me an email. So today, we're going to predominantly lead in with a side kick and a back fist, okay? And from the side kick and the back fist, we're going to try to work other strikes off of that or controls to throws. So in Sandai, to give you an example, you can have people that there's a pre-described program, right, that potentially people would do, that they want to interject that into their school. Then there's others that actually utilize the specialties that they do within their school. Like me, for example, I'm a swatch out practitioner and instructor. So most of my guys their specialty they're trying to develop is to be able to control and throw people, right? Or control, throw, control, right? Striking and kicking is not that it's secondary. We need to utilize those to keep them getting hit to be able to get a hold of something. Somebody else that may do something like long fist or some other northern style that really focuses more on the legs. They may be, their specialty is maybe potentially kicking, and they're going to be more geared toward that in a Sandai competition. Say a Wing Chun practitioner. It wouldn't make a lot of sense, but I know that people do it that way. But to me, it doesn't. The Wing Chun guy, he would probably, be more proficient at hand work and getting some controls and things like that, and stabilizing pieces, even some fundamental sweep twisting. But for it's good for him to learn long range kicks, and maybe include that in his technique training for his people. But he would probably specialize more in hand work. So anyway, there's that. So I would say there would be 4 primary ways to do Sandai. A fundamental prearranged program that people can learn from that is potentially not like their program that they have in their school. In other words, they specialize in something that this program is generalized. Or if they do something like swatch out, like I do, that the throwing part would be more emphasized in their competitors when they go compete. Something like a northern style, that would be maybe more geared toward legs, and a southern style maybe more toward hands. And then there's back and forth with that, right? There's some northern styles that are very blended. I personally, I think that the swatch out that I do, the way that my Sifu and my Sifu put the program together, it's pretty balanced. We have long range kicking, short range kicking, a lot of striking, a lot of throwing. So it's pretty balanced. So anyway, we're going to look at these 2 moves, right? A side kick and a back kick. And yes, I can do an extended side kick, right? Like he goes to punch it. I do these. That's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about using the side kick to get me to the flank potentially, or predominantly. And I'm not going to lean with the kick, and I'm not going to drop my hand to do it. I'm not going to lean away to do it, and I'm not going to do those 2 things in conjunction. I'm going to kick and keep my hands in front of me because my objective is to move into this next range. I'm not using the kick to strike him to gain a point. I'm not doing this kind of stuff and fighting with the guy, moving in, moving back. It's not that I don't do that. That's not what this video is about. This is more about me closing the distance, and I'm using the side kick to help me to move to the side. Okay, and I'm using the back fist as a strike, offensive action, that is in a way also potentially a guard or a cover or just to get me in an attachment. So if Jonathan does the movement on me, he kicks, he comes in, right? So I'm going to always, when I practice this stuff, I always take a step in, right? Don't do it from range. You know, just taking a little step back, you can practice working on your distancing, right? So I step in, I kick, and I strike. Go back a little, he comes in, he kicks, and he strikes, right? Again, I'm not even necessarily trying to hit Jonathan in the head right now. I'm more about trying to get this, right? I'm trying to kick to get here, and then I'm trying to get this movement so that I can get a hold of Jonathan. Again, my goal is, in Sangha, for my people, is to be able to kick and strike, but we want to emphasize our ability to throw someone. So, does the movement again, kick and strike. I'm going to start with just some combining this with some strikes. So I'm going to go side kick, back fist, and hook. This again. Okay, this again. Yeah. Come all on through. Yeah, that's it. Kick. Right? We do it on the other side. And I also, too, I like to do things on both sides. I may spend 2/3 of the time on my dominant side and 1/3 on my other, 50-50. Depends on the person. But we don't want people to be feel independent on one side. Why? Some kickboxers or Sangha practitioners, they're always going to lead with whatever, like the left. Right? So they'll do a lot of kicks off the rear, they'll replant, and they'll strike, and they'll use this back leg, and they'll use the front leg sparingly. I don't go by that strategy. I want to be able to use my right leg as much as my left leg. I want to be able to kick off the rear with the right or with the left. I want to be able to kick off the knee left or right. I want to be able to keep moving and switching and changing. I don't want to just come through and do something, fall back, do something, fall back. It's not I have no interest in that. I just find that I should be able to come here and do something, use this leg, come back over this leg, come here, kick with this leg. I want to be that fluid. If I'm always stuck and fixated to one side, and then the person that gives me a different forward stance, it makes it really, it can mess with a person's mind. I don't want to think like that. In theory, we're going to do this same move open and closed, and we're going to look at what both sides do, right? But right now, I'm here, I do my side kick, my back fist, and I come through my hook. Right? Does the same thing to me. Right? Come back. Kick, come through. Again. Right? You switch back again. And I tell you what, we'll just do it from an open, right? So we're here, and here I come. I'm going to do the side kick. And I'm going to fall into this back fist for a second. So I come here, I kick, and I don't care if I open him up or his hand comes here and I come this way. I don't care. I'm just trying to get in here close enough to touch him. Right? Does it to me. Right? I come in, I kick, I strike. Yeah. Kick. Check yourself. With me. Yeah. Yeah. Go back. So we're just going to lose this one piece, right? So we'll close the stance up. Same thing again. Hook, back fist. And instead, if I can do this, and I can feel good with that, I'm going to try not to go for his head. And when I do, I'm not going to do a big motion like this. If I do, sometimes Jonathan, he sees it, he senses it, he would just duck forward and I'll come across, and then he'll have my flank. I want to hit him in the back like this. So if I came through, I want to do this first before I go through this. Because if he leans forward, I want to stay with him. If I do it like this and he ducks, I'm going to be on this side, again he's going to be on my flank. But if I went from the back fist and I hit here, I know I've made contact. You may say, well, he's going to lean over. That's fine. That even helps me in a lot of ways, right? So I'm not saying try to knock the guy over with it. I'm saying, well, you want to feel it, and when you feel it, then turn the arm. So if he does it to me, right, he comes through, he makes the contact with his forearm, and then he wraps my head. Kick, back fist, and wrap the head. All right, you get this? All right. Now, I can do this open too, right? So switches the feet, or in an open sense. I do the kick. I come this way, this hand is here. Now, if he tries to hit me with a hand or not, I'm going to do the same thing that I did to his back. I'm going to make contact, and I'm going to wrap him up. Now, I can turn it into a clinch, or a kind of turn, and kick him here, right? And then from here, we're working. So he does the side kick, he does the back fist to kind of open me up. Whether I come in with a punch or not, he's going to come to the inside. He uses this forearm to make contact with my chest, and then he turns it like he's doing a hook, and he wraps me up. He does it again. Wraps me up, and goes around the head. Just basic movements, right? So I'm going to go back to it again. Side kick, back fist. I'm going to bring this hand first. I'm going to come in and I'm going to step to hit him in the kidney or in the floating ribs. Bam. All right, we go open and close. Do the same thing. It gets me into the body. I can cover, I can move, I can all kinds of stuff, right? We're just fundamentally looking at targets, right? 1, 2, 3. That's it to me. Then 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's me. Right? From an open stance, right? Same functional action. I go side kick, back fist up high, right? He's going to block to keep him getting hit in the face, like this. And then, boom, I'm going to come in and hit him in the gut. All right? So here again, he does the side kick, he does the back fist, I block it, and then I create an O, and he strikes here. I'm doing it on this side, like this so you can see. So again, 1, I throw this up high, and I come to the body. Hook, uppercut. Does it to me. Draws me up high, comes low, right? Like that. Now, let's use that same action. So we're in a close stance, did the side kick, did the back fist. But instead of me stepping in to go for a body shot, I'm going to go for my throw, right? So I'm going to go for the waist. So I got his waist, and I would potentially push this away to grab the leg, right? So I'm ready for an embracing throw. Or I could do inner leg blocking, or outer leg hooking, or I could spin this way to get the move. All kind of stuff you can do from there. Okay? So we want to focus just on the control first, though. So we're just going to get the waist. Kick, strike, and be sure that you push the arm so he resists, right? This the waist. 1, 2, push to get this. If I push this, he's either going to resist it, which is I can work off of that, or he may try to turn, and I'm going to be able to move inside like he's making a circle, right? He does it to me. I turn the other way, I just go for an embracing to the front. Right? If I did like this and I start to come here and I'm pushing on this and he doesn't like it, I'll come under the front side. Or I'll go around the arm or the hook or something like that. Or I can turn back and go this way. Again, if you're doing Swajal, you should be able to see this as throwing the person. The kicking and the striking, yes, you can get punished in that, but can you put the guy on the ground? If you really want to pressure test your Swajal, what's the wrestling event? I think is cool, but if you really want to pressure test Swajal, no, I'm talking about JIA though, but I'm talking about CHIA though. Then this is how you do it. is, can you get those throws off when somebody's trying to kick you and strike you? And so I personally feel that Sanda events are a better test of a Squat Chow practitioner's capacity than just wrestling alone. Because, you know, when you're just wrestling alone, nobody's trying to punch you in the face. They're not trying to kick you in the leg. Or some events where you can use a knee or what have you, or like other events where we just use an elbow. So anyway, so again, 1, 2, push, right? And I go for this. And it's irrelevant if I can get this right now. Can I just get this? You know, everything is a progression. I'm going to build, build, build. So he does it to me. 1, he goes to get me off base. The thing Jonathan's looking at is he's not, once you get this, force your way into this. Okay? He's not going to let you step there. He's going to turn, right? And I want to feel him turn. So if I'm doing this and I start pushing and Jonathan starts to turn, I can do something else as he's turning. Even if I stick with this and I start pushing him, and I can roll off of him. But if you don't push, you don't put pressure in this thing, you can't make that connection you want. Even if Jonathan moves, you may not feel it well enough to be able to make this turn. But if I force into him, I affect his structure, it's easier for me to get stuff. I'd probably go for the head because it's smaller and it's easier for me. I can do this kind of stuff and I go up here, right? I mean, just my thing. But so Jonathan does it to me. He forces into me, and he uses that like a. I make this make sense. So like I'm here, forget about everything else. I'm pushing into Jonathan, not like this. Look, my body's under me, so if I move, you follow me? I'm moving from here. I'm not doing this stuff. Also, too, I want to use that like a springboard, right? And I'm pushing into Jonathan's other shoulder, right? So if he moves, I can move with him, hopefully to my advantage. So look at it from an open stance. Same thing, right? So here, and instead of me going for this strike, I'm going to go for Jonathan's waist. He goes to kick. He draws my hands up with this back fist, and he's going to shoot this way and use that hand to wrap my waist. Now, right away, he doesn't want to leave me like this. He wants to disrupt my stability right away, and he wouldn't be able to move yet. So, switch feet. So if I did this, right, here's the back fist, and instead of me going for this shot, I go to grab the waist, right? But look, right away, I have to destabilize him. I don't want him to be able to move independently of me. And once I get him moving, if I can maintain dynamic balance, from there, I can hook this leg, hook the other one with my hand, or if he starts to stabilize, I can hook or lift him up. All kind of options, right? So kick, back fist, come to the inside, and look also too, my shoulder and my neck are in him, and then that's what I'm using to drive with, right? So it's either push him, I can catch this leg, or he starts moving, I can move with him and turn on him, and slam the guy. Okay, so one more time, do it for me please. Side kick, back fist into the thigh, you shoot to the waist, and you move me right over the hands like that. Okay. You do a couple more of these, switch your feet. All right, so I'm going to use that same thing again, side kick, back fist, and right now I'm going to come underneath with an uppercut like this. Boom. All right, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. All right, so Jonathan does it to me, he brings it underneath, right? Yeah. Great. Switch on the other side. for people watching this, just to understand, I don't edit anything. He doesn't even know what we're working on next. I might write the basic idea on this board. He doesn't know what movement we're doing from the next to the next. I'm not trying to make this stuff look perfect. I'm trying to make it so you see the techniques. If you train, then you know that the whole idea of training is to get better, right? To progressively develop yourself. If I sit there and make it so perfect, or I try to edit it 5 times or 10 different ways and show the camera angle this way and this way, I want you to feel like if you're watching this, you can attain it easily, right? You can do it better than I can if you put the effort to it, right? That's not, if that makes sense to you, or the way I'm sharing that. But the other way, I think, is makes it look unattainable, or tries to make the guy that's sharing the video that, oh, he's so great. It's just technique, it's just movement. And somebody may know a little bit more than you, or know a little bit more than me, and that's the whole idea of sharing stuff. So he does the movement again, right? Side kick, back twist to open me up, and then he comes underneath. Right? Here. Right. Switch back. So we did this, and we're going to come underneath, right? I'm going to come up. If I hit him, that's fine. But what I'm really trying to do is I'm going to try to pull down on this arm. I'm going to grab it to me. And I can go this way, or I can go this way, okay? So we're just going to try to get the grip first, right? So Jonathan does the kick. He does the back twist to kind of set me up. He shoots that uppercut in there like he's going to hit, and then he's going to yank and pull this arm. Don't pull me away. That's the other thing. Don't yank the person. You got on a glove. Now, if you're doing it on the street and you're sweaty, you might slip out of your hand, right? But pull you to him. If he's smaller than you, still pull you to him. You'll develop more skill like that. If the dude is, we got a guy that comes here that's like 50 pounds bigger than Jonathan. He can just like move people. He's big and he's small. But if he gets away from that, he works more on his footwork and about positioning himself. His skill set will he'll get better. So if he gets around somebody else that's 250, or 50 pounds bigger than him, 300, then he can have the footwork and the maneuverability to get better at it. So when you're doing this action, think like this. Pull you in. Say like how I laid onto him. Even if I do it from the opposite direction, right? I pull this way. I want to make me part of him so I can feel him move with it, right? If he moves, I can move with him, right? Or if he tries to turn, I can move with him. Or if he tries to turn, I can turn it into something else, right? So think like that. He does it to me again. He comes underneath, he seizes an arm, and then from here, like I said, you can see there's he can go this way or he can go that way. And sometimes it's just how you end it up, right? So he does it on the other leg. He does the side kick, he does this back fist, he comes underneath and he pins the arm, right? And again, yes, I can hit him, but if I start to do this, it's easy for them. You take that foot and move behind me this way. But turn your torso the other way. Awesome. Yes, right? You get away from this, right? And you can wrap him up, all kinds of things, right? All right, so let's look at something beyond just the hand control. So we came here, this came up like I was going to hit him. I pulled this down. I'm going to pull it to this side. If he tries to throw a hook, I'm going to kind of cover with my arm, and I'm going to bring this up. And look, I'm not trying to grab his head first. Again, just like we said earlier, I hit him with the forearm, or I make contact with it, and then I'm going to slide it around the neck. Here's one turn. So Jonathan does it to me. Nothing's changed.